Ozark Season 4 has finally surfaced with its long-awaited Part 2, and boy, we couldn't be happier/sadder. Without question, the final chapter of the Byrde family saga will bring viewers on the ride of their life, filled with twists and turns. Of course, this is without question. Heavily spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Starring Jason Bateman as Marty Byrde, and Laura Linney as Wendy Byrde, and the wonderful Julia Garner as Ruth Langmore, Ozark Season 4 Part 2 picks up right where Part 1 ended, where we last saw Ruth rushing to avenge her cousin Wyatt's death.
More on that later.
Ozark has been a beloved show due to its gripping plot twists and intricate woven storylines, and critics and viewers alike have been praising it since day one. There was never any doubt that the finale would go all out. Let's take a gander at how the finale of this fantastic show unfolded. We love a good cliffhanger, and in the beginning of Season 4, viewers witnessed a dreadful car accident involving the entire Byrde family, and it was left undiscussed in Part 1 of the season. In Part 2, however, we got wonderful details and answers about the wreck. As revealed, the accident happened when the Byrde family was returning home after taking our wonderful Wendy from the hospital. The creators of Season 2 used the wreck as a brilliant metaphor, showing that all the members of the family escaped unharmed, reminding the audience that they survived many deadly obstacles during the show and they always make it through. Viewers have been eagerly waiting to see how the FBI meeting that was mentioned by Wendy before the accident played out in Part 1. In Part 2, we learned that it was the most important FBI meeting of Marty and Wendy's life because it would be their free ticket to their new life in Chicago. The Byrdes took the decision to sacrifice Omar Navarro and gave his place to his sister Camilla Navarro. Ruth finally gave permission to launder money at the casino, and they made a deal with the FBI to get the ultimate protection. It seems that the meeting turned out exactly how everybody wanted it to. Towards the end of the finale, the Byrdes Foundation threw a huge party, but the celebration took a nightmare turn when Camilla Navarro started interrogating Claire Shaw about her son Javi's death. Under pressure, not the Queen's song, Claire revealed to her that Ruth had murdered him to avenge the death of her cousin. In that moment, everything changed as Camilla rushed to kill Ruth while the Byrdes were kept under the watch of Camilla's guards. And the Byrdes couldn't do anything to save Ruth. In that scene, fan favorite Ruth was shot by Camilla.
More on that later.
As the Byrdes were prepared to get up on stage to give a speech. In the very last scene, we see the Byrdes returning home, where Mel Sattem was waiting for them with evidence proving that the Byrdes were involved in a murder. While he was trying to threaten Marty and Wendy, their son Jonah rolls through with a gun in his hand alongside his sister Charlotte. More on this later. But the show ended with a gunshot, denoting that the children decided to take the same road as their parents. We learn that the Byrdes' past cannot be escaped. Their old violent ways will always catch up with them, no matter what. Let's move on to who bit the dust in the conclusion of Ozark, and there are quite a few, but we will stick to the important ones. First up, when Camilla decided to tie up all the loose ends before taking over the cartel, sadly for Omar Navarro, that meant tying up the loose end that was her brother's life. She arranged it so it would look like he was shot trying to escape while being transferred to a prison. Camilla arranged it so one of her guards would pretend to be a police officer, killing the driver of the transfer vehicle and then killing Omar himself. We don't know for sure who gets shot in the final scene, but we can guess that it was Mel, the private detective that was trying to work out what happened to Ben, Wendy's brother. Like we went over before, Mel broke into the Byrdes' house to steal the goat cookie jar to see if Ben's DNA is in the jar to confirm that the Byrdes knew that he was dead the whole time. Considering the son, Jonah, is the only one, that we know of, with a gun pointed at Mel, it's pretty safe to assume that Mel met his maker. Darlene Snell and Wyatt Langmore finally saw the other side of a gun in the Part 1 finale. The death of the two main characters was weirdly anticlimactic, considering it stemmed from a conflict in Episode 1. Darlene refused to stop growing the Big H in a territory claimed by the cartel, and when Javi took over, he decided it was time to take her out. As the owner of a large chunk of land and a head of a drug operation, Darlene's death should send shockwaves across the Ozarks. Continuing the deaths in Part 1 of the finale, we have Frank Cosgrove Jr. His death is another classic case of Darlene flipping her lid. When he learns that Darlene has been working with his son, Frank Jr., behind his back, Frank Sr. shows up to Darlene's house to confront her. While his rude remarks should have gotten him slapped, Darlene decided to pull out a damn shotgun. Boy, that's a bit of an overreaction. Sheriff Nix has been a fixture of the show since season 1, and this all came to an end when Nix came sniffing around Helen Pierce's house looking for clues regarding her disappearance. Unlucky for him, Navarro's nephew Javi happened to be there and took care of him. And finally, our beloved Ruth Langmore. Ruth might have gotten away with killing Javi if Wendy and Marty hadn't organized one last party at the casino to celebrate how they were out of the cartel business. Allowing their criminal associates and their legitimate associates to mix probably wasn't the best idea. As we discussed before, Camilla found out that Ruth killed Javi, and Ruth knew she was a goner because she wanted to reunite with Wyatt, whom she kept having visions about throughout the episode. Camilla dusted our ruthless Ruth in the end, another loose end tied up. We often learn that the bad we put into this world will always come back and bite us in the back. Boy, another TV finale done and over with. What did you think? Do you want more of Ozark? Because I thought Ozark was just fantastic. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. And as always, everybody, thanks for watching.